Happening now, a new strain of COVID-19 found here in New York State, how leaders are trying to crack down on its spread. Plus, the latest police reform push in Jamestown.
Well, it's almost a rinse and repeat day like we had yesterday, but is there any major winter storms to deal with? I'll give you the details next as the news at 12:30 starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Several new deaths linked to COVID-19 were reported between Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties yesterday. In Chautauqua County, the health department reported 4 new COVID-related deaths and 418 new cases of the virus from over the New Year's holiday. The 7-day average percent positivity rate is slightly up from last week at 10.8%. Now, of the new cases, there are 50 people hospitalized, up from 45 last week. Now, since the outbreak started, 36 people have died from COVID-19 complications, with more than 4,000 cases reported and over 3,400 of them recovering. Meanwhile, the Cattaraugus County Health Department tallied 3 new COVID deaths as well. The health department says the deaths involved a 70-year-old man, an 84-year-old man, and an 89-year-old woman who developed respiratory failure. Since the outbreak started there have been 53 deaths linked to the virus. In the county's latest COVID update, 19 new cases were reported with 477 active. Of the cases, 42 are hospitalized in Cattaraugus County, and the county's 7-day average percent positivity rate is 10.2%. Well, in an effort to speed up what has been such a sluggish rollout of the COVID vaccine, New York's governor threatening yesterday to fine hospitals up to $100,000 if they don't finish the first round of vaccinations by the end of this week. The threat hours before announcing the discovery of the state's first known case of the more contagious variant of the virus. As Stacey Cohen reports, this is not just a New York State problem, but a growing concern nationwide as well.
Mind showing me your guns?
The first round of second doses of the coronavirus vaccine is going into arms across the country, but the rollout of the vaccine is not moving as swiftly as expected.
The issue isn't that we don't have enough vaccine. The issue is that we're having an administration problem, and so we should be trying to figure that out.
With more than 15.4 million coronavirus vaccine doses distributed in the U.S., only 4 states have administered at least half of their doses. And just over 4.5 million people have received their first dose, according to the CDC.
So we are not where we want to be, no doubt about that. But I think we can get there if we really accelerate.
This, as the U.S. has seen an average of 1 COVID-19 death every 33 seconds this past week. And the nation is starting to see a post-holiday surge.
It is clear that the increase through the holidays increased the infection rate and increase the number of people who are now walking into hospitals.
Now, a variant of the virus believed to be more contagious has triggered a national lockdown in England, and the UK daily coronavirus cases reaches a new record high.
And thanks to the miracle of science, not only is the end in sight, but we know exactly how we will get there. But for now, I'm afraid you must once again stay at home, protect the NHS, and save lives.
I'm Stacey Cohen, reporting.
Stacey, thank you. Hospitals have been receiving vaccines over the past 3 weeks as part of a program prioritizing frontline medical workers. But Governor Cuomo says that as of early yesterday, hospitals had only administered the first doses of about 46% of the vaccines they received. And according to Cuomo, that amount is roughly 300,000 out of the roughly 650,000 allocated doses so far. Well, an update on a story we brought you here last night. Lakewood Bust-Eye police say charges are pending against a woman who caused a crash outside of the Lakewood Walmart last night. Here's a look at the scene. Officers allege the woman failed to yield for a vehicle traveling east, causing that collision. In total, 4 people were hurt in the crash, with 2 taken to the local hospital. Reports indicated a pedestrian was struck. However, police say that was not the case. They say those who were hurt only suffered minor injuries. Well, residents in Jamestown will have a chance this week to give their input about the Jamestown Police Department's plan to follow New York State's police reform initiative. As Hope Winter reports, the first of 7 stakeholder meetings are set to get underway today.
Held via Zoom, Jamestown City Councilwoman at Large, Tammy Graham-Reinhardt, says the police reform discussions will give community members a chance to come forward and voice their opinion.
That was kind of my way of extending it to people in the community who have not had a chance to voice their concerns or provide some insight on what they believe police reform should look like.
The sessions start Tuesday at 1 p.m. and continue throughout Friday. A full list of dates and times is posted on the city's website for participants to register beforehand. For those who are not able to attend online, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist says other arrangements are in place.
One of the sessions we did schedule to be a local phone number audio conference bridge only for those that don't have the technology. We want to encourage folks to just go on our website or call our office. Just click on the Police Reform Initiative on the city's website, and you can go ahead and pick which stakeholder group you'd like, or call the mayor's office at 483-7600 and just ask to be put into one of those stakeholder groups.
The reform process is part of an executive order issued by New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo last year that requires all municipalities to take another look at their policing procedures and, if needed, modernize strategies in their local communities. So far in the process, Councilwoman Graham-Reinhardt says she has received a lot of helpful feedback.
People have been providing some very insightful information and some good things, and so I think we're well on our way to looking at something good for the city of Jamestown.
The City Council plans to review discussions throughout February with a final vote at the end of the month. In Jamestown, Hope Winter, WNY News Now.
Hope, thank you for your reporting. Jamestown, along with other police departments across the state, will need to submit a finalized proposal by April to continue receiving funding from the state level. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in all of our coverage, whether it's COVID-19 or other happenings in the community. And we appreciate you tuning to us as your trusted source. It's great to see Kirk. Good to see Craig, Lori, and Drew in the comments. Hopefully you're all having a great day. Let us know what you're doing down below. Good to see Joanna. Good to see Eric, Sandy, and Craig as well. Let's now get a check of our First Defense weather forecast. Joining us from the First Defense Weather Center is Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. Hey, Dakota. Happy Tuesday to you, my friend.
Happy Tuesday, Justin. And we finally made it through Monday, which I know, sometimes can be one of the roughest days of the week. Let's take a look at Links 1, and we will take a look at the camera from the Warren City Bank. Downtown Warren shows you just, a lot of cloudy skies, 35 right now in downtown Warren. Satellite and radar composite shows you, well, really nothing. It's almost going to be a rinse and repeat day like we had yesterday, but we don't have that low-hanging fog like we had yesterday. 32 here in town right now, 33 in Mayville, 36 Fredonia, 32 Clymer, 33 in Randolph, and 37 over in Erie. So temperatures are not going to be budging too much over the next several days here. We topped out at 33 yesterday. We started the day at 30, and so again, temperatures really have not moved too much. 59 and 31 below zero are the record highs and lows for this day. Youch, that was really cold back in the early 1900s. So it's almost a rinse and repeat day like we had yesterday. Lots of clouds and isolated drizzle or flurry possible. Little wind out there. Average temps 30 to 39 with that northwest wind averaging about 3 to 7 miles per hour. Now, as we told you yesterday, there is no big weather in sight over the next 7 to 10 days, but could that be changing down the road? We'll give you the details next in a few. Justin, back to you.
All right, Dakota, thank you. Well, a Jamestown senior care provider is joining forces with a much larger Western New York senior health system. Niagara Lutheran Health System, based in Buffalo, announced this morning that Lutheran Jamestown is now part of the Lineage Group. Officials say the new entity will first help oversee strategy and operations, finding efficiencies there. That work will then pave the way for the group to manage the local facility in a greater role down the line. In June 2019, Lutheran first joined partners with Schofield Care in Buffalo. A separate board of directors will establish bylaws to support the integration of the three affiliates into the new group. Well, restaurants across New York State continue to weather through some tough economic times as the new legislative session in Albany is set to get underway this week. The New York State Restaurant Association is advocating for several measures to keep their industry afloat. New York State Capitol correspondent Karina Campabianca now with more.
A new proposal from Senator James Skoufis aims to limit wholesale wine and spirit delivery fees for restaurants and taverns. Wholesalers would be prohibited from charging delivery fees on orders greater than $200 and would be limited to a set fee of $7.50 for orders less than $200. The president and CEO of the New York State Restaurant Association says it's one measure that could benefit the industry.
We've seen those rates vary quite a bit depending on who we're dealing with. So they could go up to $30, $40 a delivery, and then depending on how many deliveries a week you get, it can add up for a restaurant. So right now, I mean, any little thing we can do like that is going to have an impact if we can add enough of them together.
She says the organization is also assessing what has worked well over the past few months.
We're looking at things like alcohol to go, having that pass through the legislature instead of just a 30-day executive order from the governor that has to be re-upped.
She's also looking at making the expedited permitting process for outdoor dining more permanent and talking to the legislature about taxes.
Maybe we could get some tax rebates, tax credits for the expenses we've had for outdoor dining build out.
Additionally, she hopes restaurants will take advantage of the latest round of PPP loans from the recent federal stimulus package.
We look at this as a bridge until we can get the next legislative session here in Albany started, and then the new Congress and the new administration at the federal level, and try to piece it all back together.
New York State's new legislative session will begin on Wednesday. In Albany, Karina Campabianca.
Karina, thank you. Well, straight ahead, we hear from one local representative who explains his vote to verify the Electoral College tomorrow. But first, more on a serious crash in Chautauqua County. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. The driver of a luxury SUV who was spotted allegedly driving erratically in Chautauqua County yesterday afternoon is now in the hospital after he was ejected from his vehicle during the crash. New York State Police tell us 21-year-old Eric Jarrett, an Erie County resident, allegedly traveled at extremely high rates of speed in a 2021 Audi Q3 on Route 5 in the town of Portland. Police say law enforcement observed that vehicle driving within the speed limit in Dunkirk prior to the crash, only then later receiving 911 calls about the Audi traveling at high rates of speed. A resident, later flagging down a state trooper, reported the crash on North Swede Road. Jarrett was found outside of his vehicle when first responders arrived on scene. He was taken to Brooks Hospital, later transferred to ECMC. Police say charges are pending against him, and the exact cause of the crash remains under investigation. However, speed could be a factor there. Officers do not yet know why the man was traveling at extreme speeds. Well, 2 months after the general election in Georgia's state Senate, candidates are finally having their day. More than $500 million have been raised by the 4 candidates in this high-stakes runoff election, which could determine who controls the majority of the Senate. Daryl Forges in Atlanta, where things are heating up.
The polls are open in the Peach State. Looking at some of the lines, they have been fairly moderate. The wait times have not been too long for the most part. Now, this race is critical for so many different reasons. One of the biggest is that this could very well define Joe Biden's presidency.
The whole world is watching the people of Georgia tomorrow.
President Donald Trump rallying his base on the eve of a statewide election with national significance.
Each of you is going to vote in one of the most important runoff elections in the history of our country.
Georgia now at the center of the political world as Democrats Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff challenge incumbent GOP Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue respectively. At stake, control of the U.S. Senate.
The whole country is watching us right now because we have the power, Georgia.
We're on the front lines of this battle for the entire country.
The high-level stakes bringing in high-level campaigners for the final push.
Vote!
For President-elect Joe Biden, a pair of Democratic victories could aid in advancing his policy agenda.
One state can chart the course, not just for the next 4 years, but for the next generation.
While Republicans need at least one win Tuesday to put a check on Biden and the Democratic-led House.
If you don't vote, there could be nothing stopping Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi.
Enthusiasm in the Peach State is high, with a record 3 million voters casting their ballots early.
People are taking it seriously.
Voters in this burgeoning purple state aware that they could help shape the political landscape for years to come. For years to come, that's going to be a big thing moving forward. Now, one thing to keep in mind for both parties involved is voter turnout. Right now, Democrats are hoping that the African-American vote and the young vote will be crucial for them to win this election. For the Republicans, they're hoping that their base and rural areas will come out in droves on Election Day. In Atlanta, I'm Daryl Forges.
Daryl, thank you. Congressman Tom Reed says he will not join a coalition of Congress members who plan to contest the Electoral College results tomorrow. Nearly a dozen of Senate Republicans and over 100 House Republicans say they will fight back against the constitutionality required vote if an emergency audit is not completed beforehand. Now, after hearing feedback from residents during conference calls on Monday, Reed says he's not going to overrule states and their designated electors.
Because I still believe in our institutions, and I still believe in the power of the people, and it's now incumbent upon Republicans, especially the new Republican Party that I believe in, to inspire the hearts and minds of those individuals to stand with us as we go forward to lead this country to better times.
Now, however, a chorus of congressional members still insist that elections in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Georgia require re-examination. While Republicans admitted their objections are unlikely to change the election results, they still consider the debate important. Well, consumers spent more time on their mobile devices during the year of 2020, leading to record spending on mobile apps and games. More than $100 billion, in fact, was spent on mobile apps in a single year for the first time ever, according to Sensor Tower Store Intelligence. Now, the gross revenue was up 10% over this time last year. It's estimated that consumers will have downloaded 130 billion apps in 2020 across Apple's App Store and Google Play. On Christmas, consumers around the globe spent more than $407 million on it. Outside of the mobile game market, TikTok was the app in the top of consumers' minds, generating $4.7 million on the holiday. Certainly, we hope you took some time to download the WNY News Now mobile app if you haven't already, and that one is free. Thanks so much for joining us today for WNY News Now. It's great to see Marty, good to see Daisy, Tori, Brenda, and Nancy. Let us know what you think about these stories and more down in the comments below. Dakota, apps do play such a big role. I think we've talked about it really all along. It's incredible how much, when you look over the past 10 years, how technology has changed and in turn shaped our lives too.
Yeah, and there's a famous saying, there's an app for that.
Yeah.
And there always is. Well, now, actually the new saying is there's a watch face for that.
A watch face for that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody's got they're connected somehow. You got the watches, you got the tablets, you got the phones, I don't know where my phone is. It's somewhere around here. We've had a fairly busy news morning, and I usually come in here and set up, and 2 minutes before the governor ended, they're like, Justin, you're going to go in a couple of minutes. But you never know, Dakota. You never know. Keeping you on your toes. That's what it's about.
Yep. Well, you see, news is sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? News is sort of I don't know what I'm looking for here, but it's like, weather, it's sort of routine.
Right. We don't have routines in news, especially now.
So it's like, with weather, we know what to expect, but with news,
there's a term for that. It's called advent reporting, where if you threw a dart at a calendar, you could find out what the news organization is talking about. Easter type stuff, this festival happens. Bust I Apple Festival, great example of it. Advent reporting. It's a great thing to support. But for the news perspective, sometimes, and I'm not saying that this is the case here, but sometimes the same angle on a story over and over and over again is considered lazy. And a lot of good newsrooms stay away from that, where we try to find other angles on stories, and I think that's what we bring here. And unfortunately with COVID, it's almost seems like we're on a merry-go-round where we go, here we go again, and it's difficult to try to find what's new. And I think that's our job, and that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
And when it comes to weather, like you mentioned, like for you, it is routine where you check the same sources, but I imagine every weather system is probably different. And in this time of this week, just so you know, not that people are going to turn away, but I imagine it's probably been pretty boring out there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Ooh,
the snooze fest.
It's snooze fest kind of weather. Speaking of which, let's take a look at it here. And if you remember the movie, Dude, Where's My Car? You might know this. Where is my snow? We've only had 23.2 inches of snow last year. Now this year we're at 21 inches, so we're not too far off from where we were last year. But average to date, we should be at 36.7 inches of snow for the season. So where is that gosh darn snow? But hey, the ski resorts have been making snow here. Peak and peak 6 to 30 inches here with a machine groom surface. Cockade average, the average base is 15 inches with a machine groom variable condition surface. 10 to 36 inches Holiday Valley machine groom. Hollymont 27 inches average machine groom. Granular surface there, and Mount Pleasant 8 to 24 inches with a machine groom surface. So great to get out on the ski slopes there. Freezing even right now at the Jamestown Airport, 32 degrees, no wind to speak of, and we don't have any fog to contend with out there. That is the difference compared to yesterday, that we don't have the fog. So there is really no big Arctic air in sight here over the next 5 to 7 days here. Temperatures are going to be slowly declining from 33 today down to 28 over the weekend. But hey, this is kind of seasonal cold, and this is the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. All that orange you see is temperatures that are favored above average. Now, we're not talking 60s and 70s, but we are talking temperatures above the normals for this time of the year, and the average high this time of the year is in the mid 30s, so we're talking upper 30s, maybe some 40s possible here. But there are signs that it could be that we could be changing in a significant way come later in the month. We'll see on that. Satellite and radar shows you nothing across the Great Lakes, and really across the continental 48, it's relatively quiet. So pretty much not a whole lot is going on in the weather department across the country. That's good news. So no weather hassles for a lot of people out there. By the time we go to 2 o'clock today, 33 degrees, just lots of clouds out there. There could be a isolated rain or snow flurry, almost the same thing as yesterday. By the time we go to 6 o'clock, 32 and 30. By the time we go to 10 o'clock tonight, just a few renegade snowflakes. Next 7 days of your wonderful life coming up right now, brought to you by 42 degrees and sunny, 31 tomorrow, 30 on Thursday. And again, Thursday should be mainly dry, just a few peaks of sunshine as well. 29 on Friday, 28 on Saturday, but partial sunshine each day. Sunday, we're looking at 29 once again, mostly cloudy. And by the time we head into Monday, we'll be back into the lower 30s with some partial sunshine. We will take a break and be right back. First Defense Weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smokin' deals on smoking accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
Slow down, and move over. Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights, vests,
please give us some room.
slow down and move over. When you need help,
It's our job
to help you.
to save you.
Despite the danger, this danger is real. Do your part.
Please
Slow down, and move over.
move over.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Not tomorrow, but right now on the WNY News Now mobile app. Follow local news as it happens.
The mother of a special education student at Maple Grove High School is speaking out.
And stay informed with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network.
And Lake Erie is covered in less than 1% of ice as this winter season has entered its peak.
Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
Well, that's it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll leave you with this delightful shot over downtown Jamestown. Dakota and I are back here tomorrow. Hope to see you then, friends.